said, truth is truth. It needs no crutch and needs no apology. I've said what I meant, and I meant what I said. And at the end of the day, only folks that got beef with what I'm saying here today, there's those that have a vested interest in keeping the obfuscation going. Those that have a vested interest in keeping the pigmentocracy generation going. Those that have a vested interest in being the default benefactors of their puppet masters. And so, you know what they say. The only dog that yells is the one that got hit when you threw a rock into the pack of dogs. So, I have no concern for the dog that's doing the barking and the yelping and the crying and the screaming. Don't care. Food, clothing, and shelter within the 5 basic principles for our folks, that's what I care about. And as I said, whether or not I'm allowed by the Creator and the ancestors to be the one that makes sure that this gets widely spread, or some other party, it's coming. Today, tomorrow, it's on the way. As they say, that genie's already out the bottle. That train is already down the tracks with a head of steam up. And so, get ready for it. Our folks right now, by and large, they may be in a holding pattern, as I said, but at a moment's notice, overnight, this can turn in a very, very progressive, very, very positive, non-hostile way, non-aggressive way. We don't have to be nasty with folks. We can do things and achieve our objectives. Uh, the brother minister, the head of the Nation of Islam currently, uh, brother minister Farrakhan once said, uh, "You don't have to be nasty." I'm paraphrasing. He said, "Look at our brothers from Ainu. They just moved the biggest banks from the Anglo centers of power over to the centers of power um, where our brothers are over and sisters are over in Ainu, in areas like misnomered quote unquote Hong Kong and so-called misnomered Shanghai. So you don't have to be nasty. Just move the world's biggest banks, purported banks, I should say rather, over there. In other words, just move the center of the global economy out of their particular hands. And uh, that's an honest approach. Uh, it's the approach where parties are not being violent. They're not being hostile. They're just doing things in a purportedly economic fashion. Now, I agree with and uh, to the form of it, the substance of how it's being done by parties extra regnum of the empire. Well, that's a different story because folks doing the quote unquote currency thing and the credit thing, that's outside of what I'm allowed to uh, think is viable. That's outside what I accept as viable. Fractional reserve banking, never going to happen within the Mexican Empire. Um, Credit, non-collateralized loans, never going to happen within inside the Mexican Empire. Dealing with so-called currency as opposed to money, never going to happen inside the Mexican Empire. As the Mexican Empire constitutional monarch, I can't propose it. The Imperial Council can't legislate it. End the issue. Dead in the water, never going to happen. And so, I'm not worried about particular things. All I know is we have a work to do, and we are doing that particular work. And as folks begin to take an objective look at the Mexican Empire, take an objective look at the why behind what we do, and take an objective look at our protocols and procedures, they're going to come away with two conclusions. One is going to be, I can have a firm appreciation for that, and I got to get with that. The Mexican Empire is already doing what I like to be seeing done. And then there'll be those that will be basically uh, sitting there drinking their hateration juice. They'll be like, you know what? Publicly, they're never going to acknowledge that what we're doing is viable and logical and reasonable because of two reasons. One, either they didn't figure out how to do it, or two, they didn't have the nerve to do it. And as a result, they're gonna do the hating thing, and they will find any and every way to basically throw mud, throw rocks, as they say. They're gonna throw it. It's part of the process. Quite frankly, I really don't care. The only thing I care about is making sure that everything that we do within the Mexican Empire is non-hostile to anyone else, because we don't want folks being hostile to us. Translation: all I care about is the five basic principles along with the golden rule being implemented as we think, act, and speak as the Mexican Empire national family. I will make sure that the Mexican Empire Imperial Government on my watch always does that, which is why there's things in the Mexican Empire Constitution to predicate the how behind us doing what we have to do to make sure that everything that we do is done peaceably and peacefully. So just know this to be true. We have put the things in place, the implements are there, and we're working the implements. And again, inch by inch, household by household, it's brother and sister by brother and sister, that we're getting to their hearts and minds to let them know that there's a viable option to the madness that they're looking at. And if they're willing to think beyond 20 minutes, if they're willing to think, act, and speak from a collective perspective so that their individual aspirations can manifest and be protected and maintained, we will all win. And honestly, anyone that has anything hostile to that shows themselves for who and for what and who they really and truly are. And I welcome them showing themselves to be the fools that they are in the process.